Welcome to Empowered to Grow, the podcast. I am your host, Hanan Al-Basha.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new season of Empowered to Grow in Business podcast. This is your host, Hanan Al-Basha. Happy 2025 to everyone. Those who know me know that I don't really do New Year resolutions, but I have spoken about this before. I love to use milestones to kind of do an audit. And I think this is the purpose of why I wanted to have today's episode, or rather the topic that I wanted to talk about today. And it's about growth, it's about destiny, it's about strategy, it's about purpose, and being able to detect where we want to go and how we want to get there. That is the essence. So today's episode, Expand with Purpose, Grow with Strategy, is all about that. And I'm really, really excited to be delving into this topic because in essence, that's what I advise about, consult about, mentor about. I do breakthrough sessions. So if you're ever interested, please do book a 30-minute breakthrough session that would really, really support that kind of clarity for you. Because for a lot of us, and I'm guilty of this when I first started, is you get excited. You want to start a business, right? Or you are already running a business and you're excited about, the everyday things and just kind of keeping the ball rolling and making sure that everyone is on board and getting new clients in and getting revenues in and striving for that profit marker where you exceed the break-even point, where what you're spending on the business is as much as what's coming in, and you get to the profit. But sometimes, whether we didn't do this at the start or we're not doing this now, we don't know where we're going. We don't know how big we want this to be, how far we want to go, how far we want to reach. And this is the whole purpose of the purpose. So from that perspective, when we are looking at purpose, and I want to use this analogy to maybe support you in seeing it from a different perspective. Imagine yourself getting in your car and you turn the engine on and you drive. If you have no direction, where are you going? Are you going to go somewhere or are you going to reach somewhere? Yes. But is that somewhere where you want to go? Chances are not, because you had no intention in the first place. And I understand there's a part about your intuition and your gut and just going with the flow. Sure, that is life. But business is not about that. A sustainable, profitable business is not about that. When you get in your car, you kind of have a direction, a destination you want to reach. That is the purpose. So the purpose is the direction. How you get there is the strategy. That's your roadmap. So if you are getting in the car and you're going to drive 1,000 kilometers, chances are you're not going to take them all at one stretch. So you need to map out what routes you're going to take. If you prefer the scenic route, if you prefer just the highways and the freeways and getting there as fast as possible, where you're going to stop for gas, where you're going to stop to sleep, who you're going to meet along the way, if you have friends, acquaintances, family along the way, or there are destinations that could be interesting for you along the way. That is your roadmap. That's how you would be planning your road trip. And that is, in essence, what you will be doing with your business. And that brings me to another point, which I have discussed before. And I hope, if you haven't heard this before, that you do take this into consideration. Part of my doctoral study was unveiling this decision-making logic that is very applicable for business leaders. And again, disclaimer, this is not an either or. It is understanding these two distinct decision-making logics and then recognizing when to employ which one, because you will be needing both with your business moving forward. So one of them is effectuation and the other is causation. Now, effectuation is in essence learning to go along with the flow with what you've got. So when you first start out a business, you look at what resources you have at hand. And again, I've spoken about this before. At any point in time, you have 5 different assets or groups of assets at your disposal. You have your knowledge, or more importantly, your experiential knowledge, which means knowledge that you have gained through experience. You have your time, you have your energy, you have your money. Even if there's hardly any of it, there's still maybe some, or there could be a lot. And you have any other tangible or intangible assets. So say, for example, you're starting the business and you're baking cupcakes. That's what you want to do. So you have your time, you have your energy, you have obviously enough money at least to buy the first few ingredients for at least the first batch. The assets then, or the intangible or tangible assets you might have, you'll have your kitchen, you have your mixer, your oven, electricity, and water. And then, so you're testing it out. You're seeing, okay, let me create this exceptional cupcake and see where we go with there. You then find there's a kind of a store that would buy them for on your behalf, or kind of sell them on your behalf, or there is a roadshow that is all about that, or a food market, a weekly one, or something like this, and you go and sell it. And you're testing it out. You're seeing how far you're going to go. You're seeing how fast you sell out your batch. And then accordingly, you collect more resources. Then you can hire someone, then you can buy bigger equipment, then you can even rent out a kitchen or be part of a cloud kitchen, and you see how that goes. Now, all of that is kind of based on the effectuation decision-making logic. It's using what you've got right now and seeing how far it will get you. If we take it, like, kind of go back to the car analogy, it's kind of, you get in your car, there's a full tank of petrol with you, you have some snacks, and you just hit the road, and you see how far you can go with that. And if you're happy going that way or not, and then you keep testing out different routes, you will reach a point where now you've had enough, you've gathered further experiential knowledge, you've gathered some more resources, which would be financial resources, it could be a team, now it's supporting you, it could be co-founders, it could be technology you've acquired along the way or you've built along the way. And now you kind of have a lot more clarity of where you're heading. And this is where the purpose, this is where the destination comes in. And this is where causation, decision-making logic. Now, I want to, I'm doing enough to open up my first store. Now, to get that first store, going back to the cupcakes as an example, then I need a specific rent that I'll have to pay in. I'll need some money for the fit out. I'll need some money for the equipment. I need some money to hire for the utilities and all of this. Now you have a purpose. You have a destination. And thus, what you were doing before that was just, I don't want to call it haphazard, but it was just kind of a testing, trial and error. It's how far can we go with what we've got, now becomes a lot more structured, because you know where you're going and you kind of have a much clearer idea of what you will need to get there. And then the decision-making logic switches with you. Because whether you're looking for funding from the bank or investment, if there's tech involved and you decide to flip this into a startup or a tech-based startup, or it's just a platform and there's no destination, you just have to, or no brick and mortar location, you're just doing this online, and then you need investment to develop your product and to develop your portal and your app and all of this, then now you're a lot more clear. And now you are making each decision in your business based on the causation decision-making logic, which will take you and drive you to your destination. So this is what I kind of wanted you to think about, starting this new year, starting this milestone, which I believe every day is a milestone, and every day is an opportunity for you to look at, where are you now? Do you know where you're going next? And how far do you want to go with what you've got? Or do you have enough to get you to your next milestone? Again, the strategy does not necessarily have to be the next 10 years. it is difficult in this time and age with advancements in technology and, of course, AI. Of course, I'm going to bring up AI and, a lot of political and economic and even kind of weather conditions for you to determine what's going to happen with your business the next 10 years. You could set the intention now that you want to be still involved in the business. You would have wanted to kind of sell it or, kind of have a buyout or something like that. That is okay. But for you to determine exactly your roadmap for the next 10 years, that becomes a bit more difficult. But at least think of it as milestones. So when you are growing, this is what you're looking at. That's the growth we are looking at. The growth is, where am I here today? And my next milestone being 3 months, 6 months, 12, 18, 24. Where do we want to go with it? And how are we going to get there? And what resources do I need to get there? Which is really, really important, because we can't just keep the ball rolling and hope that it will get you'll score a goal. You need to know who are the players, who are your best assets, how are you going to, whether you're coaching it or you're playing, you're on the field yourself, you need to know how you will pass it around. If you watch football or soccer, you will see that there is a game plan. And that strategy is your game plan. It's looking at possibly funding opportunities or kind of pitching competitions you could go into, or grants that you can apply for to get you the financial resources, for example, or to get you the exposure, or to get you to meet possible co-founders or team members. There are social media channels, or what I love to call impact media channels, that would get your message across a lot more effectively, depending on the kind of business that you are creating. There are markets that would be a lot more receptive to the talent that you've got and the knowledge base that you are sharing. So these are all elements you need to think about. And these are things that I know I was guilty of at the beginning. It's like, okay, let me just see where this goes. I was a lot more dependent on just word of mouth. Our friends of friends, those kind of things. And then there were times where I'm like, okay, let me be more intentional. And I think this is what I'm kind of really, really putting out for you right now. Being intentional with your business. How can it grow? Where can it grow? What kind of channels would be best for you? What kind of supply chain would be best fitting for your product or your service? Who are the partners that could support you to enhance your product or your service? Whether you collaborate to present and to offer something that is bigger than what you can do alone or within the vicinity of your venture with your limited resources, or they could be offering you a whole new market or a whole new channel that you hadn't thought about. Collaborations are big. We don't survive in a bubble. We can't do things alone. We are seeing even the conglomerates of the world kind of collaborating and working on things, even if they're not officially in business together. They're depending on each other's strengths and core competences, such as Samsung, like, for example, doing the screens. Originally, Apple took all the screens from there. Intel was doing all the kind of the core chips, and they were being commissioned from there. We have whole factories that are just doing one type of bolt that Boeing could be purchasing from them, because it's that. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You don't really need to invest a lot of money and time and effort to be able to come across one finish line or one milestone, when you could use that as a building block from whoever is out there right now to be able to serve your pursuit of your destination. And that becomes part of your roadmap. But without having that clarity on what you are doing, who are you serving, what are you serving them with, what are the pains that you are resolving for them, even if it's just a cupcake. And it's not, I don't mean that demeaning, but even with a cupcake, you can be resolving someone's pain. then you would be a lot more clear on where you want to go and how you want to get there. And this is the important part that is all about expanding with purpose and growing with strategy. And expansion is one that is done horizontally, it is done vertically, it is done across borders, it's done across industries. If you're offering a service, that could be it. You could have been just focusing on serving a specific target market or a niche in a single market. Now you can expand that market across various geographies, or you can expand it across various niches, or you can realize from collaborating and expanding and being open to what's happening around you in the market that that could actually be applied across different industries. And that's the kind of growth you're looking at. But I always want you to make sure that whatever growth efforts you are putting in with a sustainable outlook. What does sustainable growth look like? It means that your curve is going up, it's steady, and for you, it's maintainable. But if you are going for those kind of, well, they call it the hockey stick in the startup world, and you don't have the technology to back it up, you don't have the infrastructure, the human capital, the knowledge base, then you're setting up yourself for flatlining and possibly going back down as fast. And this is why sustainable growth is an outlook that you always need to look at. There will be times, of course, when you are strained on all the resources, and that's okay, because think of them as growing pains. But there are other times where this is not just about a temporary strain as we are waiting for funding, or as we are getting more investments, or as we are hiring more people. This is something that just does not become sustainable for you as a venture, and it starts imploding inside. And you don't want that, because you want to really work hard on retaining every new client you get, retaining every client you get, those that started with you, those that are existing with you, those that trust your brand and your delivery of the product or the service. Of course, you need to retain your brand promise and your brand reputation, because if you become known for something and you become known for delivering a certain caliber of product or service, you want to make sure that that continues with you. The market that you're in, new markets you're going into, these are all considerations you make as a business leader. And you want to ensure that also you are involving those around you, those with you in the venture, those with their sleeves up and in the kitchen, or with you in the car, going back to the car analogy, that you're in agreement. There will be disagreements, of course, we're humans, but you are overall in agreement with the destination and where you want to go. And these are all very important aspects for you to think about when you are looking at your growth, and more importantly, when you are looking at the roadmap or the strategy to get you towards that destination that you set for yourself and for your venture, whether that be in a few months or in a few years, and looking at what else is happening around you, technological advancements that can support you, AI tools. Of course, I have to bring up Maverica, but AI tools and AI agents and AI platforms that can support you to reach further with a lot more efficiency and higher productivity and less cost and saving of your resources. These are all things you need to think about. So whether you are employing at this point in time effectuation, or just going with the flow, seeing how far you can go with what you've got, at a point in time, you will consider, or you will kind of shift gears into causation, where, okay, now I know where I want to go, and let's see how we can get there. And you will be a lot more clear on your roadmap, and that would be your strategy of all the components and all the competences that you would need to acquire or to grow along the way as well, along with the business growth that you have towards that destination. So that was my message for you today. I do hope that you focus a lot more now on kind of doing an audit. I always love to call them audits, even though I don't come from a financial background. And I know people think immediately finance when it comes to audit. But an audit is just standing still for a few minutes and seeing where are you and where are you going and how are you getting there and what have you got to support you to get there. This is the kind of audit you're looking at. If you feel you've been treading water and kind of standing still, or just, in a car, driving around, running low on fuel and still not getting anywhere you want to be, this is an ideal time to start and to see how can you map out the next quarter, 2 quarters, 4 quarters, the next year to get you somewhere you want to be and somewhere that will sustain you to stay there for as long as you can or as long as you want before you set the next milestone and you set the next destination on your path to the growth of your venture, so you can grow as big as you want, as fast as you want, as steady as you want. It's all about you. And please don't get tempted by the headlines and by the vastness of other businesses. Remember subjective success. And I've spoken about this before. Define what success means to you and where you want to go with your venture. If this is just a venture that brings you joy and you enjoy doing it, and this is something on the side, and you don't want to grow it beyond what it is already, then that's okay. As long as you understand, that would be the limitation. That would be the parameters of the revenue you'll be getting from it, of the growth you will be getting from it, of the market size that you will be getting from it. But if your destination is, a much bigger venture, you also need to understand and identify how much effort, time, money, energy, and resources as intangible and intangible assets that you will need to invest in the business to be able to get it to that next milestone you have in mind, and then the next milestone and everything else. But it needs to come from you, because there will be days, I promise you will wake up and you will question yourself of why you started this in the first place. There will be times of frustration. There will be times of possibly even resentment. But I want to assure you that when you do have that destination in your heart and in your mind, and you are clear and you know your why, going back to your why and Simon Sinek, of course, it becomes a lot easier. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying it becomes easier for you to dust it off, kind of roll with it and get going again. So I wish that you got some value from today's discussion. Again, reminding you that I have breakthrough sessions and I love them because they're only 30 minutes, but they pack a bunch of value with them. If you do need the support on your clarity, on your strategy, on where you're going, where you are today or where you're going from here, I would love to support you. Please get in touch. I'll send you the link to schedule a breakthrough session. And always remember that when you expand with a purpose, a destination, and when you grow with a roadmap, with a strategy in mind, so you are actually able to reach those destinations along your path. Once again, Happy New Year to everyone. I'm so excited again to be doing another season of Empowered to Grow in Business podcast. I can't believe it's episode 190 already. And as always, I wish you love and I wish you abundance and I wish you prosperity, not just for the next year, every day. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Until then, take care. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to the Empowered to Grow podcast. I'll catch you on the next episode. And until then, know that empowered you empowers others. Love, abundance, and prosperity to you all.